and welcome to the TheROCKATX online worship experience. You're getting ready to experience God on another level. Whatever you're seeking from God for your life is available for you as you praise, hear the word, and transform your situation. While you're worshiping with us, feel free to interact with our online ministers in the chat and share this broadcast with your friends and family so they can join you online. Also, make sure you subscribe and follow TheROCKATX on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram to stay connected to all The Rock is doing. Now, shake off the worries of the week and get ready to give God some praise. Service will begin soon.
The two types of parasites, the external parasites and the internal parasites. External parasites are generally pretty easy to identify by their own physical bodies or the physiological markings of irritation. So that when you are irritated about stuff, vexed about stuff, when you're listening to your pastor preach and you came to church, you drove here, you streamed in, and you irritated about his message. You drove here, and you typed in Facebook, TheROCKATX. You went into YouTube and you put it in, and now you're watching him and you're arguing with him. You got to say, something is off with me, because why would I personally go to somebody who's aggravating me? Oftentimes it's because you have the presence of these external parasites, because you know them, because you don't know when you got bit, but the bumps and the irritation and the swelling will let you know you've been bit. Am I making sense? So sometimes it's you like all my message besides that part. And when I said that part, So external. So that means that there's something happening on your outside. It's pretty easy to deal with. External basically means this: you've been in the wrong environment, you've been around the wrong people, there's been some type of exposure. Am I making sense? And now it's impacting you. But there's also internal parasites. Internal parasites generally are ingested. That means something happened to you. You ate something, or something was put in you that literally that was put in one form and then over time developed into another form. Am I making sense? So when you got parasites, sometimes you don't initially know when the original infestation was. You don't know when it was, but you start knowing the manifestation because either you're itching or your stomach's hurting, something's going on, you go to poop and there's stuff hanging out of you, and you're like, what is that? And how do I have an extension there? Am I making sense? That means when you got an internal parasite, sometimes you ate something wrong, you ate something that wasn't cooked well enough, or you ate something you wasn't supposed to eat. You tried something. We were in the Philippines, and Pastor Blvd and I were preaching at a remote village in the mountains. And so we had to get up every morning at 5 o'clock and catch this bus. And we were sitting on this city bus, and there's like 89,000 million mosquitoes around there. And so you're sitting there, and then it's a city bus, and so you're dealing with, everybody who was, all the indigenous people that were there. So you're just packed in, and it's mosquitoes, and you're like, and it's carts with chickens and all kind of stuff. And then you're riding, and they're going 90 miles an hour around this mountain, and you're sitting there, and everything else. But because you're in a different country and culture, they offer you what they have. So one of the days they offered us this fresh fish that they had cooked and just caught out of the river, whatever else. I mean, and then they had pork. But the pork was literally, it was like a thick cube where you could see all the layers. It looked like they had just grabbed a hog and just cut a square out, dipped it in some sauce, and put it on there. I said, I'll take the fish, please. Pastor Jourdan said, we got to taste the pork. I said, no, you got to taste the pork. So he ate the pork, and about 3 days later, he had what some people call traveler's diarrhea. And it was like, and when you got that kind of diarrhea, it's like every 5 minutes, and it is explosive. You know, it's not a thing where you can say, let me hold it. It is like there she blow. But it was because, and they tell you when you're there, you gotta watch what you eat, because some of the food you eat will actually put parasites in you. He didn't see anything. I'm making sense. So I want you to understand that sometimes when you get parasites by people you hang out with, but sometimes you get parasites by conversations that you have, thoughts that you have, things that you ingest. And when you get this parasite, remember, it's going to do what it does, right? So now, why is this important? So how do I know I got a parasite? Number one, understand this, that a short distance to victory and security that God's with you is not a guarantee of success. Why? Numbers 10, it said, for they departed from the mountain of the Lord on the journey for 3 days. Now, on a journey of 3 days. So God gives them the covenant. God gives them the law. God tells them what they're going to do. And they're going to the promised land. And the promised land is literally 3-day journey from their current spot. So if you can imagine, within 72 hours of walking, with 72 hours of walking, you should be able to get there with no problem. In fact, it's such a surety that God said it's just going to take you 3 days. Now, so how does 3 days turn into 40 years? I want you to understand something. God didn't say 3 days of a supernatural journey. He just said, listen, so they departed from the mountain of the Lord on a journey of 3 days. He said, yeah, y'all gonna be there in 3 days. Today is Sunday. No, not you could be. You're gonna be there. Today is Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you'll be there. Could you imagine that God would say, your life can turn around on Wednesdays? Your life, listen, in 3 days, you're going to never be the same. Now, notice, and you have the Ark of the Covenant, of the Lord went before them for the 3-day journey. So you got the presence of God with you. You're not wondering, God, because some of us will say, God, if you be with me. And God says, I'm with you. The ark is very clear. Here it is. The cloud is very clear. There it is. It says this. Listen, and search for a resting place for them. And the cloud of the Lord was above them. So if you couldn't see the ark because you was too far back, you saw the cloud. Listen, so it was whenever the ark set out. So whenever the ark started to move, that Moses, your leader would say, so wait a minute, I got the presence of God, I got the cloud, and then my leader, whenever the ark would move, he would say this. Listen to what he says. Rise up, O Lord, and let your enemies be scattered. Now, that's not just a praise song. This is literally the Bible. So when you say, when y'all singing the song, let your enemies be scattered, you realize now that it's actually a Bible verse. So when they started moving, every time Moses would get up and say, rise up, O Lord, and let your enemy be scattered, which means that whatever journey, whatever way we're going, whatever enemies are in front of us, God got us. Right? And let those who hate flee before you. If they don't like you, ain't nothing they can do about it. God's getting ready to do this. Now notice, you would think this is the recipe for success. And when they rested, when they stopped, he says, return, O Lord, to the many thousands of Israel. In other words, when we stop, Lord, come back to the camp. So I'm protected when we moving, and I'm protected when we stop. But a short distance and a guarantee of divine protection won't stop parasites. Don't matter how many times you dip your dog, fog your house, take your dog to the vet, give him his heartworm pills and his flea medication. If you keep putting them in the same environment, or you feed them the wrong stuff, you're going to have problems. So now I want you to understand this. This is the good thing for most of us. Movement is never an indication of progress. Because for 40 days, for 40 years, I know God's working with me. Why? I'm on the move. I know God's working with me. Why? Because, man, listen, I'm moving. I'm always up. I'm always doing something. I got things happening. I ain't sitting around. I ain't stagnant. Because, listen, in stagnant water, things die. Stagnant water stinks. Stagnant water where parasites live. I'm moving. You can be moving, but you're not progressing. So just because you started something, and a lot of us, what we do is we just start things new. And so you keep starting something new because starting something new means movement for you. You started this business, you started that business. Listen, you done changed your major 18 times. Well, I think I want to be a psychologist. No, the Lord said doctor. I think I'm being an engineer now. I think I'm going to focus on literature. Listen, you know the best degree to get? A finished one. And listen, let me help somebody. Stop saying, but I want to make sure I graduate with the right degree. 90% of people don't even use their degree. They don't even work in the area that their degree is in. Just get it. Just finish it. Stop wasting money and chasing fantasies when you don't realize all you're doing is you're avoiding the hard classes and you're substituting movement for progress. I'm gonna get a certification in housing. I'm gonna go get my housing license. Okay. How you doing on that? The Lord told me, he woke me up and told me to start this other program. I'm gonna start this other program. Well, didn't you just pay for the test? Yeah, I paid for the test, but the Lord arrested me on the way to take the test. You know, and so just because you're moving around, remember, they moved around for 40 years, and the Bible says for most of them, God was not pleased. So just because you're moving, I'm talking to somebody, is not an indication that God is pleased. Am I making sense? Making sense. And let me help you with this. Just because he got you out of the mess don't mean that he is blessing you. Sometimes his mercies are made new. He's like, you don't deserve this. Listen, I tell you, kids, you'll understand this, young adults, parents really will understand this. Just because we gave you the money for the rent don't mean we felt good about it. While we were sitting there, we were like, nah, they got to get their life together. Don't be calling me next month talking about what happened was. Call me from the shelter next month then. How do I know I got parasites? Remember this, now, Numbers 11. So I'm walking you through this story real briefly. Numbers 11, and it says this. Now, when the people complain, same people who had a 3-day journey. So you are off on the first day, and you complaining. You ain't even started going good. Now, when the people complain, listen, it didn't displease Moses first. It displeased God first. It displeased the Lord when he heard it. Here's the problem. Where is God? Everywhere. So that means that complaint you had in your bedroom, that complaint you had in your car, it's too hot to go to church. Man, it's just so hot in here. I mean, people need to stay in and be safe. I don't know why we going to church on Sunday. We didn't get that complaint, God heard it. And God was like, are you complaining? And his anger was aroused. And so the fire of the Lord burned among them. Listen, you know why it's so hot? No, I'm messing with y'all. I'm messing with you. and consumed some on the outskirts of the camp. Now, I love this because the closer you were to God, the less likely you were to get burned. But those who want to stay on the outside. Now, Dr. Moody, how do you know this is true? Listen. Then the people cried out to Moses. Listen. So now God's mad. God says the fire, and the people say, Moses, help us. People complain. God mad. God sends the fire. They're like, Moses, come on, help us. You know you got parasites when your pastor is your firefighter. Whenever you're on fire, you go to your pastor. And he putting on his fire jacket and come running out with water hoses. You don't call them for Bible study. You don't call them for listen, past anniversary. You don't call. None of that. But as soon as your life, Pastor, I'm on fire. My relationship is broken up. You mean the one I told you not to get into? The one I said, hey, watch out for that? The one I said, hey, what are you doing? Nothing, Pastor. I'm not doing anything. Y'all together? No. Ooh, Pastor. Like, where y'all sitting together, hanging out? So then Moses prayed and the fire was quenched. Now, so now we would think this is good, right? So your man of God put out a fire in your life. So now all complaints should stop. We just quenched the fire. We should be good. We left the first day and you're a pyromaniac. We quenched the fire. Now you should be good. Look at this. Now, listen. So we call the place Teriba because the fire of the Lord had burned among them. Verse 4. Now the mixed multitude who were among them yielded to intense craving. You're smelling smoky, but now you're complaining about not just your attitude, but your appetites. And you will have the appetite of, I love this, the mixed multitude. The mixed multitude in Hebrew literally means those who were unidentifiable. So that means you hanging out with people who are kind of kingdom, churchy, spiritualist, searching, confused. You hanging out with everybody that hangs out with you, don't go to church, talk about the things of God, and that's who you hang out with. My dog didn't have a problem. But the problem was, everywhere I took my dog, they had problems. So you've got to be careful. Why? Because if you're in a group of people who are always acting out sexually, you a freak, me. You a freak, me. You a freak, me. You a freak, me. Freak. You high, me. You high, me. You gossip, me. You messy, me. Am I talking to anybody? You've got to be careful because whoever you're hanging around is actually telling you your future. And they're imparting spirits. Even if you think you good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm just trying to minister to them. No, you're not. Why? Because you have no influence on them. In fact, they have influence on you. They're depositing all that stuff in you. My dog was not the problem. The problem was there was some dog in the nice apartments. They had a flea problem. Am I making sense? So if you're hanging out with people like this, all my friends, they go out every Saturday, but I tell them, I'm not going to go, but I'm just going to stay right here. Well, those wrong friends. So the mixed multitude who were among them. So wait a minute. This is not, sometimes you say, well, I'm not talking about the people who don't come to church. I'm talking about the people who are in front of you, beside you, or behind you. We ain't talking about you, though. Notice, this mixed multitude left with Moses. They left with the Israelites. They like, man, I heard something going down. So everybody that's around you, even spiritually, and that sees God do miracles and that eats the same food you eat is not necessarily identifiable as a kingdom citizen. I like Dr. Moody, but I like The Rock. I like this church, but I don't want to keep my own identity. Now, I'm not going to get into it all like that. That's what you do. Listen to people's pronouns. Pronouns tell you a lot. Y'all's ministry, y'all's pastor, what y'all are doing at the church. That means they're part of the mixed multitude. And it says this. So now, the mixed multitude who were among them said, listen, so that means this. These are the first ones to say, I just got to do what I got to do. It says they yielded to their intense craving. Okay, can I be pastoral for a second? But I do want to say this. You've got to be careful when people are talking to you that are supposed to be saints, and they're talking to you about their cravings for you and their passion for you and what they want to do and how you should be good with that. You've got to be very careful with a saint who will text you and tell you things and start talking to you, and you're like, wait, what is this? Here's the deal. I'm not mad at you for having a struggle. I'm not mad at you for having an issue. I'm not mad at you because everybody in here has a struggle and an issue and everything else. But here's the deal. Don't spread that DNA. Don't try to validate your struggle by trying to indoctrinate other people in it. If your struggle is drinking, stop asking everybody to come out drinking with you. Am I making sense? If your struggle is smoking, sleeping around, doing whatever else, listen, I understand this. Keep your struggle to yourself. I don't want to be in your world. Listen, because I don't want that spirit to jump out on me. Because I didn't come in here with that struggle. But now I think I'm in here and I'm in a good spot. And now we all hanging out with Moses under the cloud and everything else, and God is all good, and we shouting and everything else. And then I'm getting a text message from you talking about, hey. And I'm looking around like, what? It's quiet in here. The text says, now the mixed multitude who yielded to intense cravings. I'm making sense. It doesn't say that it's wrong to have issues that you struggle with, right? But it does say that it's wrong to yield to them. Am I making sense? So man of God, woman of God, you need to be the man of God and the woman of God. This is not to come in and get your swerve on group. Now it says this. It says they yielded to these intense cravings, and the children of Israel wept again. Now wait a minute. So now it started with the mixed multitude. And now the children are saying, we want some stuff too. So now it started out with those who were unidentifiable. And now the children of Israel started weeping and saying, give us meat to eat. We remember the fish we had. So now you're going back to your appetites. We had fish that we ate freely in Egypt when you were under bondage. Now you want to go back to the same meals you had when you were you want to open up your appetite to the things that you did when you were unsaved? Why are we talking about that now? Listen, remember, you said, God, take me out. But now God took you out, and now you circling back and reminiscing about the good old days. But remember, when God found you, those good old days was killing you. And you was like, Lord, if you just deliver me, help me, Lord, help me. But now you hung out with the wrong people, and now they're starting to remind you of all the other stuff. And now you don't want what God supplies. You say, I want to go back and eat what I freely ate in Egypt as a slave. Cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. But now, this is where you know your emotions have gone off. My whole being is dried up. One day. Monday. Oh, man, this kingdom stuff. This God, oh God. I feel like God won't let me do nothing. And we're like, you've been saved 10 minutes. You just got your life right 10 minutes ago. And now you crying in the car talking about I don't want my whole life to be in the church. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All I'm gonna do is go to church the rest of my life. And it's like, you've been saved 10 minutes. Where did this come from? And now you're like, I need to go back and get a drink. I need to go back and do this and to go back. Why? Because all you can say, because, listen, it says this, now our whole being's dried up. Listen, and there is nothing at all except this freaking man. All I'm going to do, Pastor, is just go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday. What about my family? How I'm going to live? Do I got to work? I can't work, right? Because I got to be kingdom focused. And I'm like, where are you getting this conversation from? What are you doing? You know, I'm just saying, it's like I got me in class, got me in new members class. Now we're going to go into small groups, everything else. It's like I'm going to be Jesus up. I was like, on Monday, Sunday, I be at church. Then I got to go to small group and talk about church. And then on Wednesday, I got to be at Bible study. Again, another verse, another bunch of verses. And then, it's like, now this, then you go, just like all week. And I said, well, wait a minute, wait. You said Monday, small group, that's an hour, maybe hour and a half. Then you, 1 of 24. Tuesday, if you have a meeting, okay, I don't know if you have a meeting or not. That's on you. Wednesday, we have Bible study, hour and a half, maybe 2. But you got the whole 20 of your day. Thursday, you don't do nothing. Friday, you don't do nothing. Saturday, upper room once a month, 90 minutes. No, it ain't choir rehearsal because you ain't in the choir. You start naming stuff, choir rehearsal. Like, you don't even sing in the choir. So I want you to understand, I want to show you your mentality. There is nothing at all. God, you taking up all my whole life. And I'm like, I leave and lock up. I know you ain't meeting. And when you hear this, you got to realize this. That means you got something's happened on it. You've got a parasite. Somebody's put something in you.
Thank you for worshiping with us today. If you liked this message, you can find the rest at cmllcstore.com. We invite you to join us again for our extraordinary worship services every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., Sundays at 4 p.m., and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, where Dr. Moody teaches how to understand the Bible, and you can get all your biblical questions answered. We look forward to connecting with you. We ask that you subscribe to The Rock ATX on YouTube and follow The Rock ATX on Facebook and Instagram to stay connected to all The Rock is doing. You can also get connected on our website at therockatx.org. Again, thank you for worshiping with us, and be blessed.